Do you think if Paul had had a chance to review the book of James, he might have said something like, I don't know what you mean, James, but don't you think you ought to word it a little more clearly? People are going to misunderstand you. What does it say about God that this book is not clear as we judge clarity? Not sure. Well, as we judge clarity. You may not judge clarity the way we should. The clarity of Scripture, the perspicuity of Scripture, which is a doctrine that I think we should hold to, doesn't mean there are no perplexing things, because Peter says of Paul, he has written things, some of which are hard to understand. And then he adds, people twist them to their own destruction. And thus he says there's something hard to understand, but then he blames the twisters. So the hardness is not a hardness that if we were patient and humble and meek and prayerful and studious, we would abuse and misuse. So hard, yes. Perspicuity doesn't mean nothing perplexing, nothing hard. It just means you don't have to treat it and twist it in a way that it's going to hurt people. And so when you come to James and Paul, you're going to find things that are perplexing me. I could name other things in James besides chapter 2 on justification, which is what this is about. I mean, when he says, let not many of you become teachers, because we all make many mistakes. And you'll say, we? Did you mean we? That's a problem. You're the authorized biblical spokesman, and you're saying you make many mistakes. Okay, we got problems. I got problems all over the Bible. I read the Bible every day, and every day I see a problem. So the question is not so much, would Paul have told James, get your act together, you're not a good communicator, but rather, is James written in a way that though hard or perplexing, as Paul is hard and perplexing in places, it's designed by God not to be over the edge hard or over the edge perplexing, to protect it from doing what the false teachers did in 2 Peter when Peter said they twist this to their own destruction. I don't think Paul would have said to James, don't write that book. If he had known, it's a huge if he had known all the factors in James' situation that led him to write the book. And here's an analogy. I've often wondered, if somebody walked through my house, could they find anything that would indict me? Would they find pictures? Would they find financial records? Would they find internet history log that could indict me? And my answer, I hope this is true, is that not if they knew everything I know about why it's there, which they probably wouldn't, which means they would indict me. But they don't know why that check was written. They don't know the facts. They don't know why I went to that site about prostate cancer that had that information, and they don't know what's going on. They don't. And so if we knew what James was dealing with, we would approve. Paul would approve. He's God's inspired spokesman to write it. And now we're confronted with knowing all this in the Bible. How do we read it? That's the more urgent question for us.